As coronavirus cases surge in several U.S. states, our next guest writes in a new op-ed that the best way to turn the tide is a vaccine mandate. Let's bring in Dr. Zeke Emanuel. He is Vice Provost of Global Initiatives at the University of Pennsylvania. Of course, he served on President Biden's Coronavirus Advisory Board and as a White House health policy advisor in the Obama administration. He's also the author of Which Country Has the World's Best Health Care? Dr. Emanuel, thank you for joining us today. It's good to see you. And I was reading in the tease, part of your op-ed is that mandates are the last tool we should be considering. Did you mean it's the last tool or it's the last tool? What do you think on this?
Look, you don't want to force people to do something that they don't want to do, and we shouldn't be forcing them. On the other hand, it does look, if you look at the polling data and the uptake of the vaccines, that we're going to get to 50 or 60% of the people vaccinated. That looks like the eager group, the group that really wants it. But then we're going to have some low uptake, and we need to get to somewhere between 70 and 85% to really have herd immunity and get back to full pre-pandemic normalcy. There are clearly places where you're congregating people that we should have mandates. Students in universities, my university, for example, faculty and staff. Healthcare facilities. Every healthcare worker ought to be vaccinated. I shouldn't have to worry. Has my doctor been vaccinated? Has that nurse been vaccinated? What about, the respiratory therapist or the person drawing my blood? Those are groups. And I think employers ought to take this very seriously and consider mandating and requiring their workers to get vaccinated, especially if they're going to come back to the office.
I hear your concerns, and I tend to agree with you on this. But employers are not doing this at this point. Universities that have said that they're going to require students to come back, most of them have said they won't require staff. I think they're worried about getting into it with tenured professors or with unions on some of these issues. And you can see cause for concern when we're talking about this at the same time that J&J's vaccine has been paused and that we've seen problems with AstraZeneca's. There are people who have concerns and now have something to point to say, my concerns are legitimate. What do you say to that?
Well, look, we still have about 1,000 deaths a day in the United States, between 900 and 1,000 from coronavirus. We're also seeing a spread of this new variant, especially among younger people. This is no joke. We're talking about 6, 7, 8 cases since March 2nd, so over 6 weeks. Very serious. Take it seriously. But I don't think the risks of the vaccine compared to the risks for the country of the coronavirus is really at issue. This is very rare, focused on women. Maybe we'll learn more about it. But we do have 2 very safe vaccines. And let's remember, for most of us, for all of us, getting a vaccine is a lot safer than driving a car or get the risk of getting COVID. And I think we need to put it into the risk context here. And bringing people together at a school, bringing people together at a work site, bringing people together at a university, those are situations where we know spread happens quite rapidly. And if we want to actually get ourselves back to normal, this is part of what we need to think about.
Hey, Zeke, you just said we have 2 very safe vaccines. Does that mean you're taking J&J out of the running at this point? What damage has been done by this pause, and what's the implication?
I meant we have 2 other safe vaccines. We have Moderna and we have Pfizer, which are extremely safe. And I think the J&J vaccine is extremely safe. I mean, this is rare. We're talking about 8 cases that we found in nearly 7 million people. If you just say, well, what about the women between 18 and 50, the age group where this rare clotting and low platelet count situation has occurred? There were 1.4 million. And again, 8 cases is pretty rare, given the risks we have from the virus, given the risks we have from lots of other everyday activities. So I think it's a very safe situation. I think the White House and the federal government thought that they could afford a pause, and not a stoppage, but a pause, because 95% of all vaccinations have been with Moderna and Pfizer. So we have in the United States more than enough. I think the ramifications for the world are a lot different and much more serious by casting doubt on the J&J vaccine.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.